So let's begin. Uh, this week we'll be performing an experiment on Cater's pendulum. Okay, so again, it's a compound pendulum, and our goal will be to find the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, now the pendulums are used widely in seismometers. These devices are used to actually measure earthquakes, and also in accelerometers, okay, which have a lot of applications. For example, in automotive sector where you have crash detection and airbag deployment. So these sensors basically are looking at changes in your forces or changes in the acceleration that an object is experiencing. And so accurate measurement of your acceleration due to gravity in the local area wherever you're using it is very important. Okay. Now, as you can see, there are other applications as well in aerospace sector for navigation and how much of thrust you're giving to your satellite that is being launched. And in all these places, it is highly recommended to use compound pendulums because they can get rid of a lot of issues that a normal simple pendulum has, right? And we have talked about this before as well. In a typical simple pendulum that we use in school, we have a mass that is hanging from a thread, and in that case the thread is actually getting expanded. So we have variation in your calculations because of the weight that is hanging on the thread. Plus there is air resistance as well. And so when you measure your length, the values can vary. And when you do that in your calculations for time period, then if you remember, t is 2 pi square root of L over G, and so your time period varies. So that is not a good thing. Okay, so all these things can be avoided by using compound pendulums, where you actually don't have to measure the length of the object per se, but you have to look at the point of oscillations. Okay, and the same idea we applied for a rod as well, and today we'll be applying for the Cater's pendulum too. Okay, so I just want to make you aware that pendulums are good, but since the last 20-30 years we have moved on from pendulums, and now we are using a Michelson interferometer setup, which we use to actually measure these things. And I wanted to make you aware that India is now planning to build an a particle accelerator, which is going to be for detection of the gravitational waves. Okay, so this project was just approved last year, and it is going to be built in Maharashtra. And what you're seeing here is the accelerator, the LIGO observatory in US, and it is going to be built along the same principle, where we will use it for detection of gravitational waves. Okay, so if you want to study and know about this project further, then you should go and look up these articles online. Okay, and it's a very exciting field where we are still trying to detect gravitational waves, and India is also trying to make its mark, and hopefully it will be ready by 2025. So that's the plan, and a lot of interesting stuff is happening. Okay, so we'll be studying about Michelson interferometer in the next semester when you take waves and optics, especially the physics students. Okay. Coming back to Cater's pendulum, again, it is a compound pendulum, and what we are trying to do is we are measuring the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, and again, we have our point of suspension, which is given by this knife edge, K1 and K2, and what the Cater's pendulum has, it has two weights, okay, W1 and W2. One of these is metal, and the other one is wood. Okay, so the metal is heavier than the wood. Okay, so what happens is the point of suspension of center of gravity will not be in the center, it will be shifted towards the heavier weight. Okay, and what we'll be actually measuring is this H1 and H2, and we'll be doing time periods of oscillation from these two knife edges. Okay, and our goal will be to use this extra weights W1 that we have here, W here that we have here. Okay, and by adjusting this weight, we'll try to make the time period as same as possible, and we'll get the value of this G, and where the position is, and we'll measure the H1 and H2. Okay, and by design, it is intended that whatever the air resistance happens when you oscillate about this axis, similar shape and size of the object is kept on the other side, so that the same air resistance will happen when you oscillate it from the other end. Okay, so let me quickly show you how the actual equipment looks in the lab. Your Catus pendulum. Okay, so it is oscillating, and here you can see that one knife edge is over in this direction on the top, and it has the metal cylinder. Okay, so that is the heavier part. All right, and this is your knife edge on which this Catus pendulum is oscillating. And on the other hand, you have a similar sized wooden pallet here. And again, these are for fine adjustments, the little ones that you're seeing. Okay, and we'll do the oscillations, and then again we'll measure for the time for 20 oscillations or 10 oscillations, and then we'll divide by 10 or 20, and we'll get the time period for each oscillation. Okay, what we have to do is again measure the two time periods from the two knife edges. Okay, and then we can calculate G by using this relationship where you're using the two time periods and the two lengths of the center of gravity to the suspension points of K1 and K2. Okay, so pretty straightforward, not much to discuss here. What you all need to understand is there is a simulator. I have provided the link on which you can perform this experiment. Okay, so let's look at the simulator closely. This is our simulator. What we are going to do is we can choose just the environment as Earth, and what you can do is you can change the mass of this steel cylinder. Okay, so that is a steel cylinder. You can change the mass if you like. So that would essentially increase or decrease the difference between the mass of the steel cylinder and the wooden cylinder. Okay, and what you have to do in each run, you have to essentially change this position of your knife edge. You see, so I will change the position of the knife edge, and as I move the knife edge position, I am changing the point of oscillation from where this pendulum is oscillating. Okay, and again, as I change the knife edge, I have to move these cylinders as well. So I'm trying to change the weight where the cylinder is. So you want to move as close as possible to your knife edge. Okay, so right now the knife edge is at 25 centimeters. The steel and wooden cylinder both are at 20 centimeters. Okay, so whatever is the air resistance on this side, you will have the same air resistance when you flip this entire pendulum. Okay, so and let me show the measurements. Let's see what are my H1 and H2 values. There you go. And now I can try to oscillate it. Okay, so now it started oscillating. Okay, so there I go, I started. Okay, and see, now it works fine. So sometimes there are softwares running on the computer that really slow down the simulations. Okay, so I want to start from one side right there. Okay, so now it is going. So I have one oscillation, two oscillations, three, and so forth. And then once you have 10 oscillations, you can just hit stop and you will get the time. Okay, and then what you can do is you can invert this. Like I was saying, this is knife edge 1. If I invert it, then this wooden cylinder will go on the top. So I can do that. There you go. And then again, I can give it an oscillation, and I can see, I can start again, and I can again record for 10 oscillations. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to bring the time periods as close as possible to each other. And the way I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the position of this cylinder. Okay. So that is for fine adjustment, and that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so the simulator is straightforward. There's a lot of good theory given here that you should follow. Okay, and